Now we've looked at how to explore eyes on the solar system in terms of time and in terms of space, let's look at some of the more advanced controls under the Visual Controls tab. Under Visual Controls, we have many of the different features within eyes on the solar system, including all the different objects that we put into it. These are categorized into what we call layers. Here at the top you can see planetary bodies, moons, small bodies, spacecraft, etc. If we turn on, for example, the small bodies layer, we'll add in all the comets and asteroids. And you'll notice that we have a rollout arrow here. Click that, and we can choose between them. We can just have the comets that we've added into eyes on the solar system. And here you can see Comet Tempel 1, Comet Hartley 2, and somewhere off in the distance, Halley's Comet as well. These layers can all be turned on and off, and we'll contextually turn them on and off for you with some missions. Let's leave comets on, because we might have a look at epoxy in just a minute. Underneath that we have the labels. We can turn these on and off, the orbit lines of all the bodies, the trails of the spacecraft, or we can turn them all on or all off. Worth mentioning at this point is the photo mode icon in the bottom right corner. That will turn off all the labels, go to a realistic lighting mode, and hide all the menus for you. It's an approximate view of what you might see if you were actually there. Click it again to bring things back. Underneath the lines we have units. We can switch between English and metric. And we have a high bandwidth mode. If you have a reasonably good internet connection and a reasonably powerful computer, use that to get the highest bandwidth, highest quality images for the textures of the spacecraft. Underneath that we have different lighting modes. Let's go and look at Earth, for example, to try these out. We zoom into the Earth. Here we have it with our high bandwidth display. And we can go to 3 different lighting modes. Here you can see the daylight side of the Earth and the nighttime side of the Earth. But the nighttime side isn't entirely dark. That's because we're in the middle mode, a half and half mode. If we go to a realistic mode, we lose that back illumination of the dark side of objects. It's slightly more realistic, although uniquely, of course, the Earth has street lights. The middle view is the default view, and the view on the right is like a giant floodlight added to your perspective, so wherever you are, you can see everything in front of you. Notice in the background, we have some stars. We can also turn up the brightness of these stars. We can turn them right up to get an interesting background, or turn them down to be a little more realistic. Underneath that, we have the ideas that give you how to use the different controls, the left, right, up, down, and rotation buttons. And these keyboard shortcuts are very, very useful. We also have 3 camera views that are visible even when we close the Visual Controls tab. This is the orbit camera that takes you to a normal view in orbit around an object. This is the over-the-shoulder camera that works best for spacecraft. Let's look at the Jason 1 spacecraft, load the model, and this is a shoulder view of Jason 1. If you want to be riding on board a spacecraft, this is the camera to use. If we go back to the Earth, we also have this view, essentially an orbit view. It shows you that object's local system, which in the case of the Earth is the Earth and the Moon. If we go and look at Mars, for example, that orbit view will show us Mars and its 2 moons, Phobos and Deimos. We also have a free fly mode that, in relation to the object you're looking at, lets you fly in any direction. We hit free fly using W, A, S, D, R and F. We can zoom in and out, go left and right, and go up and down. This is particularly useful for exploring spacecraft. We also have a field of view. We can actually zoom in as if we had a zoom lens, and zoom back out again. So that's the Visual Controls tab. Use that to explore the solar system in a little bit more detail.